Hi, welcome to my channel. I I wanted to come on today just to share a personal testimony of what inner healing can do in someone's life. I can say I've personally received inner healing from God, and I know some people may think that, you know, when you go through a traumatic event in your life, that there's something, it impacts you. You know that it does impact you because you feel those emotions. You go, whether you choose to be, whether you go on the depressive state or whether you go into a state where you are just numb to it. What I wanted to just share a bit of my journey. Personally, in my own life, I've lost very close people in my life. Two very, very dear people in my life. And people who know are really, really close to me know specifically the encounter, the story I'm referring to. And in losing these individuals who were so, so close to me, I was pretty much attached to them in such a way that they were, yeah, my siblings. So unfortunately they left, well, they died before they, well, it's a bit of a touchy subject, but one thing I can say is that God has been helping me heal those wounds. And what I really want to come on and just encourage people is, when you do go through these events in your life, like what Job experienced, like we know this man was broken in pieces, left there to wallow in his tears, in his grief, and nobody could comfort him. His friends pointed the fingers at him saying, hey, it's your fault this is happening to you. You didn't do this. You didn't do that. You may not have been perfect. How can you compare yourself to, somebody who's righteous? You're not righteous. Things can fall upon you too. And so he wasn't comforted with that. That's not the consolation he needed. I like how God shows up to Job, and through a period of repentance and a change of heart, Job realizes how omnipotent God is, and he just leans on him. And I know with what I dealt with personally, it was a bit of a difficult situation to encounter for anyone who's ever lost anybody close to them. But I have to say that the sense of peace, of God's peace, came upon us, like my family and I, during that time of crisis. And it's just an unspeakable, I don't even know how to express it, that fell upon us, like this unspeakable peace in the midst of what you would call chaos inside. Internally, you feel like you're about to explode, but outside, you're feeling calmness. You feel like the world has kind of paused for a second, and you gotta catch up again and pick up the pieces. I remember that's how I felt. Like in one way, I went very depressed, and pretty much had to rebuild my life piece by piece, because I felt like everything was just shattered. The world I knew no longer existed with these people in my life. And so that's how I approached it, and it was very, very difficult. And had I not been a Christian and not known God and his heart to be able to help me, I wouldn't have been able to be standing where I am now. But it was what I received, though, because I didn't really go through counseling. I didn't really do the inner healing process. I'm still dealing with pain years and years after the fact, grief. And when I did go through this experience of drawing closer to the Lord, I had a spiritual brother of mine who recognized that right away, that you are dealing with grief. And I think God was laid it in his heart, and that was the first thing. I remember I didn't think I still had anything. Like, I thought life, I had moved on. I still didn't have anything I was holding on to. And I remember with one word, I sobbed. I screamed and wailed and cried like I've never heard myself cry before. And that's just how deep the pain was. But we went through that process of dealing with the grief, dealing with the pain and the hurt, the loss, and being consoled as well, knowing that, you know, these guys are in heaven now. They're now in God's care, and they're also enjoying a blissful life. So I had to kind of come to the comfort of knowing that they are now in heaven and they're in God's hands, that he is taking care of them. And I want to make sure I also take care of myself here on earth and be able to move forward with my life. There was one particular teaching I remember going to a Joel Osteen, like, I wouldn't call it a seminar, a Joel Osteen crusade. And I would never forget this message for the rest of my life. He spoke about moving forward. And it could not have been at a perfect time for us, because as a family, we were going through a lot. And God laid that in his heart to preach, and I think I received it, and I was really, really touched by what he had to share. He talked about how, you know, when you're driving, you got to keep your vision at the front. There's a reason why there's a big dash at the front. There was a big window for you to be able to see what's in front of you. And there's just a small, tiny little mirror for you to see what's behind you. So we have to kind of lay those things behind us. Keep it at a small, you know, small vision, but not to make it a grand, big thing that you can't move past. And if you find yourself you're in that place, I would really encourage, if you can find someone who does inner healing, a counselor, I really would encourage you to be able to reach out to them, because you don't know how much you still carry of that grief. It was so beneficial to me, and I thought I was well over it. And lo and behold, when God brought it up, I still had those emotions and I had to deal with them. And it was with time. It took time still to be able to get that proper farewell in my heart. But I was able to get there by God's grace, and I'm just thankful for that. But I really want to encourage people we are all walking with things that we've carried from our personal experiences. Some may have been great, some may have been horrible, but God knows these things, and he wants to bring these things to light, because those are not things that he intended for you. to be able to experience such pain, to be able to experience such hurt in life. God didn't intend such things in your life like that, and He wants to be able to heal you, allow you to move forward into the things that He wants for you. I didn't think that there was life after death, and that was one big key experience I learned from this, was that there is life after losing someone. It's a painful process to go through, and I never wish it upon anybody. But having gone through that personally in my life, I can only say God is your healer. Lean on Him and bring these things to His attention, and also allow yourself to open up to somebody about it, because you don't know what you still might be carrying that maybe manifesting itself. I know for me, it used to manifest itself in my reaction towards how I would respond to like my mom. I'd all of a sudden just be moody and giving her an attitude for no reason. Something as simple as like something so simple, and I would just overreact and be so dramatic, and it would just come out that way. Like, it would come out that way. Sometimes I also question God. I remember at the beginning, I questioned God, why did it have to happen this way? And I realized, just like Job, I also had to be brought back down to God is omnipotent at the end of the day. Even if I were to get the answer, it will never bring that closure. It will never bring them back to life. As much as I miss them dearly, they are in heaven and basking in God's glory, enjoying what heaven is like. And I pray I get to see them someday, enjoying them there too. But until then, I'm going to live my life fulfilling what God's will is for my life, walking in the shoes that He meant for me to carry. And that is what I wanted to put out there. Is I know we are dealing with lots of hurts and lots of pain from those experiences, and it really takes somebody who's mature in the Lord to be able to help you walk you through these. And it really takes a godly intervention. I like, in the world we do have the human wisdom, so there is counseling as well for these things, but I nothing takes precedence to me over what God says. And what I was able to get, how I was able to get over it, was really a testament of God's goodness and God's love. He hasn't forsaken us. Don't think for a second that because you're going through these moments that He has left you in the dark. He doesn't care for you. He loves you more than you can imagine. And He didn't, as I said, it's not Him who put that in your tracks. However, He knows what you're dealing with, and He wants to be able to see you past that so that you can move forward with what He has planned for you. And what I know He has planned for you is His plans are good. They're going to take you places you've never dreamed of, push you out of your comfort zone. And it's going to be a testimony to somebody to see, somebody who's overcome. Like, I'm able to say this really painful memory for me, but I'm not in tears, and I'm not in denial about it. I'm being forward with you in terms of everything I dealt with when I came across that situation and that situation in my life. So I really, really encourage you guys to really lean on God, especially for these things. I can't stress that enough. And really also seek the Lord to be able to find those places in your heart where you still may be holding on to grief, where you still may be holding on to something that you need to let go of, some painful memory, some painful thing in your past, bring that up to him. And I'm telling you, there's a big picture before you that he wants you to see, the big vision for your life. And he wants you to minimize the rear view for the things that you dealt with. So I really will leave it with that for now. I know it's impromptu, but this is what I felt like sharing. And I hope it is a blessing to you all. God bless you.